Hey, what's up, everyone? We're here with Grow Getters, and I'm here with my favorite aeroponic educator, Crystal. Say hey, Crystal.
Hey guys.
Hey. So I'm calling in from Georgia. She's over in Alabama, and we have been doing this every Tuesday, just about getting together and talking about gardening, specifically gardening with your aeroponic vertical gardening system. And we are just in the ultimate season of gardening right now. It's so exciting. Summertime is the very best, and we've been doing this Grow Getter group in our Harvest Wellness community, and it's been dynamite. I also will prepare you today that Crystal and I are living some real life situations right now. She's done two high gift classes today. I have a house full of people over here and a husband who's trying to fix a garage. So we're going to be maneuvering
Real
all over
life.
the place. Yes, this is. I was like, should we go live? And I'm like, you know what? Let's just go
Yes.
for it. That this is the best stuff when it's like real life happening. So, um, what we're going to do today is we are going to talk about where some people might be at with their garden, which is bitter plants, bolting plants, plants that have started to seed essentially. And then we're also going to talk about some really good gardening supplies and tools to use for the summertime. So Crystal's got some very cool stuff on her garden that I think a lot of y'all would be excited to know about, since it's that time of season for garden fruits and vegetables. So we're going to talk about bitter bolting plants, what to grow for the summer, and also the importance of how to keep your garden really healthy. So like, what do you do when you take plants out of your garden and replacing them, putting new things into it? So Crystal, you're so good at educating. She's teaching all the time at schools. And so what do you tell schools when it comes to bitter and bolting plants? What's your explanation for that?
So the first thing that we're gonna always do is harvest when it's time to harvest. So to avoid that. But if, and we will get into that situation, you see what's happening. When you hear the word bolting, that's exactly what's happening. Plants are bolting up. They're shooting for the sky, creating a flower, doing something like that, looking weird, like they're not supposed to do that. And that just means they are done being what you need them to be, which is food. They are now going to make a flower and a seed. So if you want to collect those seeds, let it bolt. If not, we're going to hurry up and harvest all of that. And maybe it's time to plant something new. So in my garden today, I don't have a lot that's bolting because I try to keep that like pretty good. So let me show you what an example of bolting might look like. So let's see, where are we? Here we go. So if you can look here on my basil plant, it's got this little short spot right here, but see how it's got this big long growth underneath it? If that were to happen again, it would start to flower, and that's something that I want to prevent. So I always pinch the tops of my basil, just this little bit, and that's going to help it bush out. So that's a way that I keep mine in check, and I do that a lot. I do that a lot with lemon basil, which it's on the other side of this thing. Lemon basil wants to bolt like every 2 days, it feels like. So I keep those pinched a lot. That way they're not going to flower because I want to eat my basil. I don't want it to go to flower. Now, since I don't have a whole lot bolting, and that's really the best explanation and the easiest explanation, I don't know if you need any more than that, Kindall, but that's the simplest way to kind of explain what it is. If you see a flower where a flower shouldn't be, it's probably bolting and you need something new,
And what
right?
is like good? Absolutely. And I think what's helpful is you got to kind of think about like the lifespan of a plant. Like we do get, I would say, a lot more growing time from a tower garden because your plants will grow faster just
Yes.
due to the minerals and the nutrition and then the amount of water they're getting. They're like in the most excellent growing environment. So you do get more picking season from your plants. What would be like an average lifespan from seed to end of a life of a head of lettuce? Like how much time do you get with that?
That's a great question, and I actually have one right here. So my lettuce here has been on this tower for about 30 days, and that's really where it's time to harvest and eat all this. This is going to be like a party lettuce. I'm going to harvest all this at once and either make salads in a jar, or have some people over for a big salad or something like that. I'm going to harvest this all at once because it's time for it too. If I harvest one and let the others sit on there, the others are going to get bitter and start to bolt. Their time is 30 to 40 days. So if you have stuff that says it's 30 days and it's 50 days later, you're going to see a flower. You're going to see some kind of weird thing growing out of the top of it. Like, what is this? And that's important to know. And that's always on your seed packet. Your information for that should be on a seed packet or Google it.
Yeah. And honestly, too, I think a lot of this is avoided the more you just are naturally, like if you're eating off of your tower every day, if you're eating basil every day, cilantro, making salads every day, like you will get so much time out of your food because your food needs to be picked. It's like cutting
Right.
your hair, good for it. Like if your hair is not growing very well, cut it, trim it, and then you'll get
So I'm
out of it.
really glad you bring that up because it's not just about, how we're eating it, but our plants need that in general. Even stuff that we aren't eating. And I'm going to show you some tools real quick and what I'm about to do. So some two things that I like. I'm going to go ahead and plug a little thing right now. This is a root apron. Roo apron. See that little kangaroo? Cute, cute. Um, but this little guy I put around and I can harvest, I can put trash in here. It's got a thing for my tools. So I've got pockets and stuff. And every time I come out, I normally put this little guy on because I am going to be picking something off of my garden, whether it's leaves or a plant or, a fruit. So something's coming off. And little scissors. I like little scissors because getting in here is normally kind of small. So the first thing I'm going to do is look at my pepper plants. And I'm going to bring you guys in a little bit close and show you what I'm working with. So these pepper plants have a lot of big leaves, these big, huge leaves. These leaves take up a whole lot of nutrients. And what I like to do, and I'm not even going to use my scissors for this because it's easier for me, I'm going to go to the bottom of the plant under here, and I'm just going to pick these huge leaves because anything. So I'm going to go around and just pick these huge leaves that don't need to be there. This is just like trimming your hair. I don't need these. If you look even closer, you have these big leaves next to where this pepper is going to be. You can kind of see where the peppers are going to be. I can pick this big leaf right here and give that pepper space to grow.
Wow.
So I am just literally going in there with eggplants. You can do this so much. It's ridiculous with eggplants, like really it is. It's a daily thing with eggplants. I don't know how their leaves get like this big and they grow every night. I'm not sure, but it's magic and it's annoying sometimes. Like, I don't want to pick any more leaves, but you get great, beautiful big eggplants when you pick all the leaves because all the nutrients are going to the eggplants, not the leaves. So we're going to do that same thing with tomatoes. Now with tomatoes, coming closer, you have this little thing right here. See this little guy, this little bitty whatever growing in between the two main stalks? This is going to try and be another main stalk. I don't want that, so I'm just going to pinch that and call it a day. This main stalk is big enough for me. I don't need 5 more of these, trust me. This tomato plant is going to do enough of its own. Now when I back up, you can see that this whole guy is tomato. Look at all the leaves on here. I don't
Wow.
need all that. Like I don't need all that. This is a whole lot of leaves. I have some little plants growing, so I'm trying to see where these flowers are going to come out. But as they do, I am just going to literally snap these freaking leaves off because it is too much. And I don't want this whole thing to take over. Y'all are like, oh my God, what is she doing? I literally just don't want this whole thing to take over. I'm just pulling leaves because there's too many. I'm not killing the plant. I'm
Yeah.
just pulling extra stuff off. Google trimming tomatoes. That way you can keep them in check because if not, this whole side of my tower garden will be a tomato plant and I do not have time for that. I also have pepper plants that are going to want to do that. And this thing over here, some kind of a big melon, sweet melon. I don't know what it is, but I planted it and it's in my tower garden. So I have things going on that I can't let one tomato plant take over. But if we don't trim it like a haircut, it will take over.
That's so important to talk about because that's even the same for dirt gardens. So like even if you're not
Mm,
doing aeroponic like us, like that's what we did yesterday is we went out to our dirt garden and bottom leaves on tomatoes. And it seems a little scary at first because I'm like, oh no, we're gonna kill the plant. But like you said, it's wasted nutrition not going towards the fruit and then it's tough
exactly. It's going
eating.
towards a leaf.
Yeah, like I don't want to eat tomato leaves. think they're poisonous anyway, so we'll die.
It's not good.
So this
They're
is,
not good for you.
yeah, I love what you're talking about. Tell us about one cool tool. I love that you share the Rue apron. I just looked that up, which is very cute and very
But yeah.
useful. You
I
also,
also have the full apron. They're cute.
oh, I love it. Tell us about so when people, let's say like somebody has a plant that's bitter and it's bolted and they're like, ew, gross, it tastes bad. So like there's like three things that you can notice. Like the first one is that you'll just notice taste. Sorry,
Yeah,
husband's phone's going off. You'll
that's
notice the
okay.
taste is really, really bitter. I knew that the other day because I had some kids and friends over and they were eating the tower garden. They were like, ew, spitting it
It's
out. So it tastes bad.
expensive.
Yeah, it will
Like, wait
flower
a
and then,
minute.
yeah, it'll flower and then it will shoot up and grow weird. Um, so is what happens though, Crystal, talk to us about like if somebody takes that plant and they just rip it out and then they leave an open pod, what could
Okay.
happen?
So when you do that, and let's see, yeah, you guys can see over here. I'll move you over here a little bit. So when you do that, you're going to be left with an open space. I literally did this with basil yesterday because I had so much basil. Like, it was unreal. I literally ripped it out and gave it to my friends. So I was like, here, have some basil. I will put these little guys in there. I don't know if you guys can see this. Looks kind of like this, Pac-Man-ish. It's a cloning collar, and I get these from Amazon. It is just a little neoprene kind of thing, and I shove it in here to where it makes just like a little seal. You can put tape over it. You can put stuff over it. If I don't put something over it, y'all, this is outside. A frog might jump in there. Like, just I don't want a frog in there. I don't need that. But also, this is going to help you to prevent any kind of molds or things like that. Just it's a nice cover. Also, with my tomato plant, if you notice, this guy's pretty huge. I'm not going to put a plant right here because if I did, it would be amongst the tomato. So I'm going to take that same thing and I'm just going to plug them in right there. Now, the little black pots that you get for the tower gardens, the net pots, those little plastic pots, it's easier if you put those in first because your little neoprene thing won't fall through. So if you have a net pot, put it in there. If not, you might drop it and you got to wait till you clean it to get it out. So,
So
which
you're
is
so
also no big
smart.
deal.
This is why I love talking to her because she's so smart and just comes up with great ideas or learns
Oh no,
great
that
ideas.
that was a learning thing from a teacher actually. I was like, man, I would have never thought to do that, and that's the simplest thing. I've just been fishing them out. So I'm not gonna take credit for that one,
But
but I will pass the info along. Thank
yeah,
you.
no, those little things help. Oh, something else that I thought was very interesting. So I was talking to Dr. Pamela Benitez,
Hmm.
and she blew my mind. So Dr. Pamela came here to Gainesville. She is a breast cancer surgeon, and she's part of our Healthy Community Juice Plus. And so she's talking to us all about ways to prevent cancer, what to do when you have cancer, and giving a lot of people hope to realize that there's a huge survival rate, especially with what you eat and how you eat, and plant eating is a huge part of it. And so she herself has a tower garden, but she blew my mind with this. She said that they have had in their tower garden for more than like a year the same kale plant growing, the same basil, like all of these same plants growing, and they hadn't bolted whatsoever. She lives up in Michigan, and I don't know if this is like common for other people, but because her plants were indoor, I was like, I bet there has a lot to do with temperature, climate control. Because like if I keep stuff outdoors, like it is going to change with the seasons. Have you noticed
Yeah.
this at all too?
Absolutely, because I do indoor and outdoor, and my teachers can leave stuff. My aunt is the best example of this right now. She's probably had the same lavender, thyme, and oregano in her tower for like a year, and it's like this overgrown, beautiful Grecian-looking jungle mess. And she's like, I don't want. I mean, I'm going out of town. I'm about to just clean it and be done with it. So I'm just leaving it for right now. She didn't want to start anything new, but I mean, she's been harvesting and eating and it's been thriving. She's been cutting clippings and giving them to friends. Like it's just been thriving, and that's indoors in a controlled environment. Now out here, if I try to do that, if it heats up too much, it's going to force the plant to bolt. Like Spinach does not like the heat. Cilantro does not like the heat. Lettuce does not like the heat. So as soon as the temperature rises out here, I've got no control over that. It's going to bolt. So that has a lot to do with being in a more controlled environment, especially up in Michigan. I'm in South Alabama. You're in Georgia. It gets a little hot down here. We are in the South. We have humid weather. In Michigan, it's a lot drier. It's a lot colder. There's a lot more control around that area. And some of these plants do like the cold. Kale loves the cold. So that makes so much sense to me.
Yeah, I thought that was super cool. I mean, she blew my, I think she even said like, it might have been 2 years. It was something wild where I had to like stop and be like, are you kidding me? Like, you guys just now, and she said the stalk was massive
I'm
and
sure.
we're just like totally entangled. But it really is, we're engineering food to grow. And when we have an indoor system where you can grow year round, like I was just at a school the other day and we're growing cucumbers and we also have tomatoes. Like you can do gardening that would require a bee to pollinate a plant and you can grow it indoors, things that you wouldn't expect to be able to grow indoors. But like Crystal says, you be the bee, you can pollinate your plants.
Yeah,
Like,
and that's being the bee is a simple, I mean, literally, you want to see how you be the bee? This little flower right here, I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to touch this flower, and then I'm going to touch that flower again. Ta-da, I was the bee. That's it. That's all I did. Ta-da. And if you teach that to kids, I mean, that's just the funnest thing in the world. And like you said, you can grow peppers indoors. We just had a few schools that harvested some peppers and made hot sauce and sold it, which was really funny. Um, Imagine kids and hot sauce, just saying. So it was just really fun times to see them take what they grew and, make something out of it and like go even to sell it. They're little kids learning this whole process. So it's just
yeah,
amazing what you can do with these things.
I think so too. And just to bounce off of that, this opens up so many different avenues. So, with working with schools, I will say I am more happy working not so much with schools, but I would love for schools to still purchase these and have these because I saw firsthand the absolutely awesome benefit of having a tower garden in a classroom. And I can't travel to every single school. I can't live in all the different states to help people with those in the classroom. But I will say this classroom has what is called Tuesday treats. And every Tuesday, they've been able to use different parts of the tower garden. They made dill sauce, they made salad in a jar, they did smoothies, and they are actually able to sell these and make money for their classroom, their special needs class. And they could go on fun field trips or buy supplies for their classroom because they're in a part of Georgia that is actually very under it's very impoverished. I'll be straight up. They need
Yeah,
money for their classes. And being the special needs class, they do not get the special needs that they need for that classroom to thrive. So it's a big deal, and it's exciting to see what creativity can come from this. Like I can see this in housekeeping, homemaking classes, economics, biology, any of the kindergarten classes for basic learning and education. There's just like
absolutely.
art classes, like I mean, cooking classes. There's so many ways to use this thing.
And I've been to enough schools to know that they use them in most of those ways. They surprise me sometimes with the ways they use them, because like, man, that's cool. I wouldn't have thought about that, or oh, that's neat that you want this for that. Everybody's going to use them differently, but and that's what I love about them. Like they are so versatile to be able to do that. And just real quick, if you're out there and you know of somebody that like a fundraiser, not a fundraiser, a foundation that has money that gives money to schools or something, please let us know because we want to get as many of these into schools as we can. And it's really hard to find grants for these teachers sometimes. Like Kindall said, a lot of these schools don't have money like you think they do. And these teachers want to incorporate cool stuff. So let's help them incorporate cool stuff.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. This has been such a fun talk. If you guys have any more questions, we're going to wrap this up in a minute, and that will hopefully help you understand what to do when you have bitter bolting plants, what they are, what to look for. The three signs is taste, flowers, and weird stalks that will help you know what to do. And then I think it's great too. Crystal taught us how to maximize the growth of our plant, talking about how how to keep it healthy so that you get the most benefit from your tomato plants, your leafy plants, your fruiting plants. So we're going to wrap it up here. And before I wrap it up too, we're going to start another grow group over the summer, and I will send out the dates when that is coming up. But if you're thinking I'm going to be, you want to start gardening this summer and you want to have that option, tower gardens are loved by children. Parents, if you want your kids to eat fruits and vegetables, you need to have them grow them. It just is so fun. They'll go pick it. It just totally changes your environment. So we're going to start another grow group, and you can either reach out to me or Crystal, and we'll help you get set up and get started. We have a super fun growing environment. So that is all. Any last words, Crystal?
No, that's it. I mean, you covered it all. Just get in touch with us and let's get you growing. That's it.
That's awesome. All right. Well, we'll talk to you guys later. Bye. Have a great Tuesday.
Bye.